All right, welcome to the Rocket Launcher podcast. Back from a hiatus. This is episode 122. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me, as always, is my co host, and his name is.
It's your guy Omazis.
All right, so first off, how you liking the late snow day that I think happened
I
just last night?
I don't. I I love the cold. I'm not a fan of snow. Let me rephrase. I like snow. I don't like snow maintenance. Like it's
Snow
cool when it's like
maintenance.
snow and then the snows you get where it automatically melts on the sidewalk and the streets,
Yeah.
but it's on the grass. I like that. But when you have to handle it, like shovel, clean off your car, it's bad to drive. I hate that stuff.
Yeah,
So
I had like a little bit of time yesterday where I was driving mainly 20 to 30 miles an hour all the way home until I got home, being very very cautious, and I actually probably paid for the most expensive pizza ever because I ordered pizza to be delivered to me, and I tipped like $10. I was like, just give me. I think overall it was like $44 for the pizza, but it was like a large pizza and a pop or whatever. But like the tip and the delivery was like $15
yep.
because I was just like, you know what, if I'm gonna send somebody here in the middle of this, I'm gonna make sure I take care of them. So I did that. But anyways, enough about that. So we're back from our hiatus. We had a few weeks off in between. My co-host had personal stuff going on. I had personal stuff going on. So there was some actually, and then also there was like holiday seasons in between. So
Yeah.
there was a lot of things going on, and yeah, we're back right now, and we are going to address a lot of the stuff that was happening in between the time very very quickly because it's not really news anymore. But I just want to get our thoughts off on a couple things that if people want to hear it, and then we'll get into probably one of the bigger topics, which is like a lot of big hardware releases that's going to be going on this year, and then like some fun stuff after that, some of the stuff that we're going to be playing, what we plan to accomplish in gaming, throughout the year 2025. But to start off, there's a game on the screen that was called Power Rangers Rita's Revenge. This came out, I believe it was December 10th, 2024. So it's still relatively a new game. Rita's Revive. My
Yeah.
bad. What I say? Revenge.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to change the title later because I had
Yeah.
that in the thing. Matter of fact, I could do it right now on the fly while we talking. But originally when we tried to play this, when it first came out, like maybe 2-3 days after it came out,
Oh boy.
the multiplayer part well, not multiplayer, but the online co-op was not working correctly.
Ooh, it was lag. Yeah. Like I have never personally played a game that lagged.
Yeah, it was to the point where it was kind of unplayable, and
We had to
we
test the game to make sure it wasn't us because it was like, yo, this is wild.
yeah, so
Like,
we pivoted a little bit. It actually helped me a little bit when we pivoted because we pivoted to Left 4 Dead, which is a much older game, but it allowed me to run through my settings on the good PC just to see how I can record the footage. And at first, the footage was bad on Left 4 Dead, and then the footage I ended up getting it correct. So whenever we get back to that game, I'll have the footage correct. But because we were missing so many weeks, I had initially played a Power Ranger game off of the Steam Deck from the PS2 GameCube era that was called Power Rangers Super Legends. I'm not finished with it yet, but I had played it for footage just to have here in case we couldn't get the footage. But we ended up playing the game afterwards when they got it up and running, and so you'll see that footage for the PS2 version or the PS2 game after the footage for this game is exhausted out. but I think this game runs roughly 2 to 2.5 hours,
Yep.
and it's very short for a lot of people. So I could understand if you didn't want to pay full price for it right now for that, because I think the full price is like either $30 or $35.
Yeah.
Um, does it have replay value? I mean, it depends on if you have a lot of friends and stuff. You guys want to just run through it real quick, or if you're in between games, I would say so. Just a little bit. It's just fun.
The
Probably not all the way through. Maybe I would just play certain boards the second or third time around. But yes,
so certain levels have like there's collectibles that you can
yeah,
find throughout the
yes.
level. Nothing crazy. It's just you hit the right box and it shows up. So that's kind of the replay value is
Hmm.
trying to find all of the collectibles. Um, maybe also playing as the Green Ranger, but that's about it.
It does leave you wanting a little bit more. The only
Yes.
problem about it is it's hard to say if you would get more. It's almost like if it might be like you probably wouldn't until we see what happens with like this upcoming movie series, because it sounds like they want to do the movie thing again. You might see more after that, but um, I would hope that the hardcore Power Ranger community could take this and then add some mods, add some more designs, whatever they can, because this doesn't look like it's too hard to rebuild for a fan mod or a passion project or something, because it's a cool little beat 'em up or whatever. But overall, I would like to see more from Power Rangers going forward in the gaming space. I had every intentions on doing a solo vid on this, and I think I still will. A real quick solo video, just overall what I would want to see from Power Rangers. But I do still recommend playing this game. I would like to, because I didn't play the Ninja Turtle version. I would really like to play that eventually to compare, because I heard where people were saying is very much inspired by that game. Obviously it makes a lot of sense, but the Power Ranger version, it has its own style. It was fun. It needed more. It needed a lot more, but there were some moments in there where they went away from just the side scrolling beat 'em up to jumping into like not necessarily the Megazord battle, but the Zord battle part, where that's where we saw some difficulty, I guess, or it was just
Yeah.
just some moments where we had to just keep replaying. You want to elaborate on that part?
Yeah, so you have your standard beat 'em up. Then there's some on rail stuff like aim
Mm-hmm.
shooting, motorcycle racing with shooting and stuff. Then you have your Zords, where they
Mm-hmm.
kind of like it's almost like an endless run. So they're constantly moving forward, and you have to like shoot a bunch of stuff, and you're all in your individual Zords. And you're like dodging things and shooting stuff. And what I did like that was neat is that like the pink Ranger Zord, the Pterodactyl Zord,
Mm-hmm.
function differently than the others. So the other ones are on the ground, so like they can run left, right, and hop over things. Whereas for the Pterodactyl Zord, it flies. So instead of going left and right on the ground, it hovers, and you also have a height thing, which when you're trying to avoid things on the ground, the Pterodactyl Zord is really, really easy because it doesn't touch the ground. However, when you have to like jump in between beams, it becomes a lot more difficult because you have to hover in between it. It doesn't move as fast. So that was pretty neat. But then after that, it combines into a Megazord. And I know for some of the before the Megazord, the Zord challenges, sometimes they can get very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
What's on the screen? So it's like trying to find and aim at everything while also dodging at the same time. Especially towards the end, started giving us some challenge.
Yeah, I guess I mean, light spoilers, I think this was following a version of a storyline where Green Ranger was evil, and you have to fight him. But as you can see too, they kind of just they took some liberties, because you're fighting the Tengu, right? Or the
Yeah,
that was from
which
ninjas.
they even said like, "What are those birds?" Like, and I think that was the point is that Robo Rita was pulling whatever enemies she could to come back and fight the team. Uh, it's supposed to be all the futuristic stuff coming back.
Yeah, when I saw that, too, I kind of wish that they made this game more around the 5 or 6 hour mark. Like, I know it would have been a little bit repetitive, but they could have like put it there and then gave you the Ninja Rangers, gave you all the way up to like, because they could have got away with it going up to like season 3, because
Yep.
it would have been like the same, suits overall, but then you would have had the Ninja Rangers. You probably would have had maybe the Zord battles would have been more work for them. But
The White Ranger, yeah, it would have had the White Ranger, which I don't know how much it would have been different. So like
hmm
with it, the Red Ranger Zord would now operate like the Pink Ranger Zord, right? So it's already programmed in there.
yeah,
It would fly, and then the rest of them are still ground based. So it would have just been a reskin.
yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for the community. If it's just reskins, do it, because I would like to play it. I would like to look for it. I'm gonna check back every 5 or 6 months to see if somebody did something. But yeah, overall, still good game. Still good game. I do think if you're someone who probably wants to wait, Steam always have amazing sales.
Yeah.
This if even if you waited like till the next like holiday season or something, I could see this being something like $10 or $15 around that time, and still just being a cool little purchase. But if you're a hardcore Power Ranger fan, you got a bunch of friends with you that's also hardcore Power Ranger fans, definitely just pick it up right now. Support it, enjoy it. You'll have a lot of fun with it, and then you just move on to your next game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can kind of move forward. I do want to just wrap up a few things that happened in the end of 2024. It's not too much that happened in the end of 2024 that we really need to touch on, but I had some stuff that I had written down that I just wanted to just speak on. Like, for example, the Ambernick RG34XX, which was the Game Boy Advance version of the a Game Boy Advance version of like the emulation device, right? So I found out that the price is hovering around $70, and they have the options to get the indigo blue version, which looks like that bluish purple version of like the GameCube and stuff that Nintendo was famous for. It's very much looking exactly like that. And then there's a translucent green and red one that I'm more interested in. I like how that color looks. And then they have like just a straight up all black one. The packaging, I don't know how many people really remember how the packaging on the Game Boy Advance was, because everybody just kind of just have their Advance at this point. When you were a kid or something, you threw that packaging away. But apparently they did their homework on this and tried to make the packaging, like the box and everything, almost exactly like how the Game Boy Advance was, to the T. Like,
Wow.
and then like people were like showing the comparison videos from like really old Game Boy Advance unboxing videos that they could just find on the internet. And it was like their packaging was like spot on. It's funny because it's like, do you think that they're rubbing, the Nintendo a little hard, a little pause, a little like they're playing a little hard with or poking the bear, I should just say. They may be poking the bear. I don't know, but as of right now, it's not a device that I'm gonna get. I am very much still happy with my Mayu Mini that I am playing right now, and then also the RG40XX, which is technically a much more advanced version with the joystick. I think these are in the same kind of power level, but it has the joystick, which allows you to play your N64 and Dreamcast games a little bit more fluently, right? But if you are in a nostalgia state of mind, or if you know somebody who really only cares specifically for Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games, it is so easy to get the full library of those and set it up for somebody and just put that on there and give them this, and it will be literally the perfect Game Boy Advance for them, to be honest. We're past the holiday season now, because of all our hiatus, so I don't see anybody doing it for this holiday season. But anybody's birthday or something coming up, this is probably a good idea, and then you can still throw some other systems on there. Do you know anybody like that? Anybody who just like only wants that one system or in that one, category?
I don't know anybody personally that just wants the one.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people they like wanted to replay their Game Boy Advance games or
Mm-hmm.
Game Boy Color games. Well, no one's coming. Actually, no, I can think of somebody who does. Yeah, that would go back and play just those.
It's just cool because it's like all in one, right
Yeah.
there, and it's like you wouldn't miss anything. It's literally there, and it won't take up no space. Like if you're really specifically focusing on that little those libraries, they don't hold no weight, so you can just go and get any old SD card that's like a smaller SD card that's like literally like 32 gigs, and it would just take care of the whole thing, and it would be a cool device. I highly recommend it for people who are really only caring about that. But yeah, we can move on. Real quick, this will be funny. This will be funny. I'll give you, because the Nintendo footage got on the screen, so we probably should move a little bit quicker. 60 seconds, maybe a little bit longer. Do you have any words for the people out there who had, some disdain or some choice words to say about Astrobot winning the game of the year? Go right ahead.
Deal with it. Astrobot is the winner. Coke. Just because nobody wanted to play your little hard game and everybody enjoyed Astrobot doesn't mean you need to throw an attitude. And when you try to sit there and be like, well, who played this? You did. I did. I platinumed it. And I enjoyed it. Every single review for Astrobot just purely said it's fun. All your other games got some form of a complaint one way or another. Oh, it's a little bit too hard. Blah, 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 this and blah, 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 that. Not Astrobot. Astrobot was the rightful winner, and if you don't like it, go. Ha, ha. All good.
All right. Well, I don't know if it's really something we can get into. Because I do still plan to play it at some point and buy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny. It's not really. It's a dead topic now. But
In my head though, I kept thinking about it, and I was like, It Takes Two was also relatively unknown and won.
yeah.
And Balatro was also nominated, and ain't nobody heard of it until it was nominated, basically.
Yeah, I don't know how many people are going to admit that, but yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just like, calm down. Like, I don't know. I feel like your game got nominated.
Mm-hmm.
You should be happy. It still won some other stuff, so it wasn't even like ignored like Hogwarts was. Like that was cheated out of anything. Like because it should have at least got a nomination. And then just what do you think about whoever's voting? If you voted for which game here was the most fun? I mean, to be honest, out of the whole list, the only game I played last year was Astrobot. Out of that whole list, and I platinumed it. So I'm one of the targeted audience, I guess, for that. So deal with it. It's fun. It is a fun game, and it's just weird to me also how like weeks leading up, everybody was like, "This thing is rigged anyways." There's like, it's not real. Who cares about their opinion? They're not gonna nominate Black Myth at all, so it doesn't even matter. This isn't a real show. It gets nominated, and then all of a sudden when it doesn't win, they're mad again, and they're like, "It's rigged." It's like you already said it was. Like, why do you care now? You said beforehand this thing ain't real. Then when your game got nominated, like, oh well, you know what? Maybe. Like, no, get out of here.
All right. Well, I also normally we mention Epic Games in the middle. We're still going to do that, but I just wanted to go over the list. Unfortunately, because the time that we missed, I didn't really get to touch on what was given out on a daily basis because they sat there and they gave us like 16 or 17 games. I did catch all of them.
Nice.
And it started off, I'll go in order. So basically, usually at the end of December going into January, Epic Games will give out a game every day at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for 15 or 16 days, something like that. And so what they did was they gave out Vampire Survivor is a very, very addictive game for a lot of people. Astray Six-Sided Oracles, Terratech, Wizard of Legend, Park and Darker Legendary Status. And that particular one was like a add-on to a base game. You needed the base game. The base game was free to play. And then they got into some bigger games that they kind of gave out before, but it was some back-to-back bigger ones. So we had Control, Ghost Runner 2, and then Kill Knight, and then Arcs Must Die 3, I believe. And I think I put in here, did I say that right?
You said
Arc, yeah. Orcs Must Die 3. I had put in here I already owned it. Control technically already owned, and Ghost Runner 2. Redacted, and then Sifu. Sifu was a big one. I thought that was very cool.
That was like insane. I was happy. And funny enough, I didn't own Ghost Runner, so I do like sometimes they do repeats or two. Ghost Runner 2, I missed it the last time it was given. So
yeah, technically for me, I have both now, I think, on multiple systems because of how they're being given away. And I think the last one was Kingdom Come Deliverance. And then afterwards, it gets back into the regular flow of things, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. But yeah, some of the bigger ones here, I hope a lot of people got them. Control was a bigger game. Sifu was a bigger game. And then Sifu on PC also is very cool because I've seen every type of like mod for that. Yes. People put Goku in there, people put Neo in there. Batman. They put Batman, other celebrities that do fighting movies and stuff. So you can really look at that and see, go in there and mod it to something that a franchise that you like and just really enjoy it, So it's cool that they gave that one away. And I think we can move on to like more current topics because I don't want this Nintendo footage to run out.
Yeah, real quick. If you haven't tried it, Wizard of Legend is a good game. It's a roguelike, so it's just, get powers, get as far as you can. When you lose, get more powers. But they're coming out with a sequel, I think either this year or next year. So it's a good game to try out if you got it.
Okay, cool. And so now this is the year where I think at any moment we're going to see Nintendo officially announce the Switch 2, because they kind of have to at this point, because it was a very poorly kept secret. I mean, we kind of knew it was going to come, but it just seemed like everybody kind of had gotten their hands on it. I don't know what was going on, because it's not that they were just showing some mock-ups of it, but like people had the actual device in hand, and I'm just like, how are you getting this? How are these people getting this? Now Nintendo tried to play it off. I think they released a statement saying that's not the official thing. And it's like, I don't know. It kind of seems like it, but the most that we knew about it overall was that from I think a few months now that it had like magnetic Joy-Cons, and that was like almost it. Like almost everything else was the same. It still looks the same. I think my co-host told me before we went on air he hasn't seen it at all. So you haven't seen it at all, but yeah.
I tend to try to avoid like especially because there was like the Spider-Man 2 like DLC leaks, and then like they were like, nah, we're not doing any of it. So it's like a way to kind of not get my hopes up, and also just kind of I sometimes get annoyed with having to like see a leak and then I have to myself go confirm it's real, check to make sure if other people are also announcing the leak, they're not based it on that one person, look to make sure the person's refutable, and like all this. It's just like I don't feel like doing all the extra legwork. So I just
Hmm.
if it says leak, I just kind of like, I'll wait for a real announcement.
Yeah, I'm curious for the real announcement what the games are gonna be. That's like the real content, really. I mean, the hardware at this point, I mean, the middle of it was just a tablet at this point, right? Like we kind of knew it was just gonna be a screen, and the leak is really within the Joy Cons, I guess. Other than that, that's it. It's just a tablet and then the Joy Cons, and the Joy Cons are supposed to be magnetic, and I guess it's supposed to have one extra button that don't nobody know what does yet. But the main thing is what games is gonna come with it, and overall what the power is gonna be. But I'm a little disappointed. I'm gonna be honest because I knew they weren't gonna be better. Like it wasn't going to be better than the Lenovo Legion Go, and it wasn't going to be better than the Steam Deck or the Rogue Ally, and probably a few others that's going to be coming out this year. But I wanted them to get close to it, right? It sounds like their tech is going to be somewhat similar to the last one, where it's a little bit better, but it's going to be outdated in the long run. And that's the part that I didn't really like, because like you remember when everybody was like Switch Pro, there's going to be a Switch Pro, and they were like saying all this stuff, and it was sounding like it was just going to be like a handheld PS4 or something.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of where this is at, but overall that's still somewhat outdated, you know what I mean? And so with some of these other handhelds that's literally just set to come out this year, that's like not afraid to put power in there, it's looking like it's about to be really outdated. But Nintendo has the brand, they have the the franchises, and we follow the games overall. So I think their games are still obviously going to keep them afloat. Mario's the main one, Zelda being the second one, and then Pokemon as well, and then a few others here and there. But I'm just wondering, is there going to be anything else that is like what the community want is going to be there? Because I still want to see, are they going to enhance and improve their online support, things like achievements, things like party chat, and then are they going to like address, well, they with the Joy-Cons they've addressed the drift, so it is supposed to have Hall effect Joy-Cons. If anybody knows, Hall effect apparently is some sort of technology where it's like somewhat magnetic in there, so where it's not supposed to drift, basically. Anything you want from the Switch 2 that's not in the one?
I just want it to be graphically better. Like it's always weird. I don't like that. Like if it's gonna be getting third-party games, that they all have to be heavily dummied down in order to work on it. Like most of the games third-party, I'm not gonna just play on the Switch. But if I wanted to play on the Switch, I don't want it to have to just be the automatic lowest of low quality.
See, now that's the thing too, because that was the part where I was a little bit more disappointed. Yeah, because the graphics isn't really getting better. The most that we know is that it's supposed to be 1080p handheld and then 4K docked, right? Here's my issue with that, like with, because they're making the same promise that next gen made in 2020, where, well, they haven't really made the promise yet. It's just from what we were seeing, that's what we were expecting, right? But what we looked at, like when you look at the PS5 and the Series X, there were multiple games that came out where it can't hit 60 frames at launch. We had this whole debacle for so many games, like the Batman game, Gotham Knights, at one point was like, oh, it's just not going to be a 60 frames mode. And it's like, well, that's the whole point of the next gen, right? I think Nintendo might be in that ballpark for some games, and not all, but I think they might have a situation where their tech is not going to be able to handle it, just like how the other tech was, to the point where it's like, oh, now we need a PS5 Pro because the PS5 couldn't do it, and you got Mark Cerny out here talking about, oh, it's looking choppy and all this other stuff. And I think the Switch 2 might be in that category, so I'm a little disappointed. But I am still gonna buy it. Everybody's gonna still buy it. I do not think that this might actually be the first system that might not be a day one buy. I think I might actually give it a little bit of time, just to see. You know how we were always talking about the special edition systems and stuff? This might be one of them where I actually wait for the special edition.
Okay.
And I'm actually, because with my Switch right now, one of the main games I am playing is Tears of the Kingdom. I don't feel like I want to stop that game to get it on the Switch 2 to improve the frame rate. I feel like the game feels and plays just fine. You know what I mean? At 30 frames, at whatever it is. It's just, my main thing that I don't think anybody's talking about yet is how much is this thing going to cost? Because it will be annoying to see them try to pull PlayStation, Xbox prices, but then you're putting out hardware that's still behind the market. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what do you think? How much is this going to cost?
Probably 500.
500? That's crazy.
Because the Switch was 400.
It's 3. It was 3. The one that actually can take the Joy-Cons off is 3.
Oh,
And then the Lite was 200. I would think it would be 4. I think it might be 4, just to adjust for like inflation and stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, that's why I'm saying. Well, it's better than the last one, so we can increase the price.
yeah.
Or-
But what's really gonna suck is going forward. I'm almost certain every game is 70 by default. It don't matter. It don't matter what it is. I'm pretty sure it's just 70. And their games are the ones that like don't go down in price. It's like you gonna buy. I don't care when you buy it. When you buy it, when you're ready, it's $70 or $60. That's usually how it goes. So,
yeah.
I really want to see how they present it officially, because how everybody else was doing, they're showing it off. There are some people who was like creating like 3D images and stuff that looks like some stock footage of just like really showing it off like it's the real thing. And I'm just like, man, like I think they've done it. They've not handled it well, but at the same time, it's only gonna look so much different from the first one, you know, because it's like the middle was gonna be a tablet by default. It was always gonna be a tablet.
Right.
So the only difference was the Joy-Cons. Now the Joy-Cons do look like they're a little bit more like grippy, where you can actually handle it with your hands, and I do appreciate that. It doesn't look like there's going to be any new hardware gimmick. The gimmick is still the same this time. It usually, every time they do a new piece of hardware, the gimmick is usually different. It seems like they don't want to change that. But we'll see. Now, if they just bust out with a whole new thing and this was like completely different, then everybody else is going to have egg on their face, I guess. But last thing I'll say, and then we'll move on. It is gaining a lot of hype. A lot more hype than I thought was going to happen. So a lot of people are anticipating this thing. I'm hearing overall that the power is not better than the Steam Deck. That's the part that I don't like. I'm like, bro, after all that, you were supposed to beat the Steam Deck. What is happening?
Of course not.
But man, at least you know, they're getting ready to announce this thing. What do you think they're gonna announce it? Think it's gonna be now or March? I was always thinking March, but
Probably probably around March. I think they want to probably maybe do a summer release.
yeah, if they, you know, let all these people with these leaks and stuff die down, they can release, you know, an actual official this is the video kind of thing.
Yeah, unless they want to release it next month right around tax season.
I guess that would work. It might work. But yeah,
But it also depends because the target audience is do they want to release around tax season or do they want to release when school's about to be out?
yeah,
Or it's like now every kid is like, I want to do this over the summer. Get me the system, blah 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 blah.
yeah,
Right? Or here's a graduation gift because you just completed high school. Like, so I think it depends on either who they feel like because they're not going to wait till Christmas, so they
right.
missed that holiday season. So it's either going to be hey, summer, come and get it. Although too, if they release it over the summer,
Mm-hmm.
then around Christmas they can do those really fake, hey, you buy the system and it comes with this game. That's your holiday bundle without having to release that way, right? It's like
Yeah,
so they probably will do summer because it's closer to the holiday season where their deals can still be not really a deal, but they can make it sound like a deal without it being out too long.
mm-hmm.
Um, and in time for like graduation and school being out. That's my guess.
Yeah. Last thing. Um, I do think because what I said probably a year ago, because I thought a lot of this was going to get announced for 2024. I do think they're going to debut a new 3D Mario to launch, which
Okay.
may be called Odyssey 2 or it may be some other name.
Probably gonna get its own name.
Yeah, because it was still going off the logic of what I said before. They were releasing Mario games, but they were like more like Mario and Luigi, the brothership and stuff like that. It's not like the big Mario game, right? I do still believe that's going to be one of the launch games, and I do believe that the Mario Kart 9 is still also one of the launch games. And I think the cross generational game is probably going to be Metroid Prime 4. And maybe a new Pokemon, or they've already been talking about the Pokemon, right?
Yeah, be
Mm-hmm.
Legend ZA, the new
Mm-hmm.
Legends game. Which I mean, graphically improving for a Legends game ain't that bad of an idea. But Legends ZA, the next Legends game coming out, probably.
Did they give a release date for that?
Nope. We just know that it's coming soon.
Okay. So I think
We
that's
know that
kind of my
after.
prediction is that they might have you know, the dates and stuff like all set up for that. Like it's just a
Yeah.
big launch. I also think the indie developers are going to latch onto this like crazily too. You're going to see a whole bunch of people just jumping on the eShop for it.
Yep.
I think we'll see a lot of the like Metrovania games and stuff that I've always been talking about. I think you're going to see a whole just an influx more all throughout this year for this release. Yeah. Now, I do want to mention because it's still Switch related. This will be funny. Well, we got to hold them to the fire a little bit because Nintendo was a little slick for a second. They decided to put out their own version of the Black Myth Wukong game, which was one of my older topics that we just kind of missed, and it came and went too. I just think it's tongue-in-cheek humor, but they had their own version that they called the audacity of them. They called it Wukong Sun Black Legend.
Yeah, man.
Interesting name. So they kind of move some stuff around and say, oh, here you go, they got this little monkey guy with a stick, you know what I'm saying, and it was a thrown together 2D action platformer. It's just like how I was saying, like, where are the modders and stuff for the Power Ranger game. It was like, well, some of them they took a check from Nintendo, I guess, and Nintendo put out this 2D version of it. They decided, hey, we got our own. They got their own Black Myth Wukong, huh? And it's just funny to me because Nintendo out here is saying, hey, you copywriting our stuff a little bit. You copywriting here and there, and we got to do some lawsuits. But they allowing stuff like this on their platform. You know what I'm saying? So Black Myth Wukong's bootleg. If you are interested, this was $7.99 on the eShop, and it will only cost you 338 megabytes. It's very small.
Oh.
It's a quick little, something thrown together. They just decided, hey, you want to play this game? You want to play this type of game? We got you over here. You ain't got to go over there. If they didn't release it, we got it. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what they did. Have you seen this? Or would you play this game? Would you play this this bootleg, man?
Probably not.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
So yeah, we gotta hold them to the fire. Now
I got a backlog, and this is not like jumping some of those other games, so it can wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold them to the fire in a second too, because when we get to the point where we're talking about the games we're playing, one of them is Tears of the Kingdom, and there was something very interesting that I saw that I showed you a screenshot of, and I kind of feel like Nintendo, we need to explain this, but people listening to this right now, plenty of people played that game already and beat it, so they might know what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, Nintendo, they're not innocent. They're not innocent at all. There's plenty of stuff I would like for the people who, feel like they got lawsuits to go ahead and file y'all lawsuits too. File y'all lawsuits to them if they taking your ideas. But yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and then we can move forward. I don't know how long this footage is. I thought this would be over. But the Kirby footage is still going, but I think we're going to move away from this talk. Let's actually just switch gears real quick. So this don't have to take really long, but Assassin's Creed's Shadows has been delayed again. Have you heard about this?
To like March, right, or May? One of the two.
I think it's March. So it's only delayed like a month. I think it was supposed to be February. Yeah. And then now we're looking at... I
always wonder, like, what a month realistic, like, why just 1 month? Just, if you need to, hold it back.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, I don't know, tech-wise, I feel like if it only takes a month to fix it, then you could have got it done already, or you should wait longer. Like, I don't know. I don't know how tech works, so maybe not, but I just feel like 1 month ain't gonna make that much of a... Now it's done, so...
I don't think so either. Usually when you hear that, you probably think like, okay, something is probably not, good over there, and maybe you might need to, maybe you might need to put the brakes on it and not play it immediately and wait for a couple patches after it came out. Similar to how we had to wait at first to play the Power Ranger game, right? Which really didn't take too long. It was only like 2 weeks or maybe a week.
Yeah.
And then they fixed whatever it was. But it sounds like with this game, as big as it's probably going to be, you might have to give it a couple weeks. But just to recap on the game, it was still the game where I think the original controversy is you play the black guy who's in the samurai area in a certain time frame, right, in Japan.
Yeah, even though people were mad because, you play as a black guy and an Asian woman instead of an Asian guy. And they tried to, even though I think, I feel like it's going to work storyline-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, all of the assassin stuff has been in, like, Europe-ish area, I guess. So it's like, well, how did it get here? Like, why are the assassins here now? And it's like, well, if this black guy's there, he probably brought it with him. And it's not like the black guy doesn't exist. It's just people are mad because they're like, whoa, he was just a common slave. There's no real evidence that he was a samurai. And then they're like, well, here's some documents that say he might have been a samurai. Yeah, but those weren't proven. And it's just like, okay, but where was all this hate for Neo when it was a British white guy? over here being a samurai, and it's like, no, it's just everything's woke now. So it's just, I don't care about them.
I do think from what I was seeing though, the gameplay looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm really
Also, my other
yeah.
thing, real quick, is like, Rise of the Ronin, right? That looked like it had an Asian protagonist. Uh, Ghost of
Hmm.
Tsushima, Asian male protagonist. Uh, the Omnimusha games, Asian male protagonist. Like all samurai games got an Asian male protagonist. And I was bringing this up with somebody else. That like it was crazy when it's like they go, don't change this type of character. If you want like this for a specific type of character, well then just make something for it, make something new, which I totally agree with, right? When they try to like, especially in movies like or video games or comic books, where they'll like race swap a character or gender bend a character, and it's like, no, just make a new character. Like instead of just like rewriting this one, then they make new stuff with this, right? It's like, no, don't change this. It's just a black character. If you want a black samurai, make one. So then they made one, and then it's like, no, it shouldn't be that. And it's just like same thing with the. I'm sure we'll bring it up, but intergalactic.
Hmm.
Whatever the heretic prophecy, where it was just like, don't change this character. If you want a bald Asian woman, make something for that. So then they made a game with a bald Asian woman. Everybody's like, no, she shouldn't look like that. And it's just like, shut up. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
The game looks good. I'm sure it'll play well. None of y'all talked about Assassin's Creed up until the fact that it was a black guy and an Asian woman. Now all of a sudden y'all all got Assassin's Creed opinions. Like y'all never talked about any of the Assassin's Creeds before that. Shut up and deal. Play something else. Like you ain't gonna play it anyways. You weren't gonna play it. You was gonna stick to your Elden Ring or whatever was or you're mad because it's the popular game. So now on your Twitch stream you gotta play it. That's what it is.
Yeah, I still wonder what changes they need to make. Because whenever they release any new footage of just straight up gameplay, it looks pretty cool. It looks fine. Um, I haven't played. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't played Valhalla yet,
Me
and I
neither.
own it. And I heard that one was like exceptionally long. I kind of wanted to just play the games. Like I'm trying to be in that mode now. Play some of the earlier titles that I already bought that didn't, and stop just chasing the newest thing if I haven't played the last one. But
Yeah,
I
I
will
made
get
it to
a.
the end of Assassin's Creed 3. I just haven't beaten it
Okay.
yet.
Yeah, it's so many. I think they come out with like almost every year.
Yeah,
There's
Assassin's
so
Creed
many
3
of
was the
them.
one I was most interested in. Like, I never played the Ezio
Hmm.
trilogy. Like,
Hmm.
3 was the first one I bought because I was like, American Revolution. And I was like, hey, something I actually care about. Like, that I like, so I'm going to check this one out. Uh, and it's good. And then I have Origins because I was able to get it, like, super cheap. And I played, like, part of the first mission, and then I got to go back to it. Um, I wanted to play, what was the one? The one with the Vikings.
That one is
Uh,
Valhalla.
Valhalla, yeah. But again, I
Hmm.
heard like you said is like extra long and
I
open
think
world
people were
with really
saying they
new
were trying to
experience.
make it similar to Witcher 3, something
Yeah.
like that. Um,
So
something like that. But yeah.
and I want to play I think it's Origin or no Odyssey
Hmm.
because I like Greek mythology stuff.
Yeah, so they have a different time frame or a different walks of life for a lot of Assassin's Creed games, so you can kind of pick your poison. I don't think a lot of people have played all of them, so there'll be some other ones like Black Flag is basically like Pirates of the Caribbean. And you can play that one if you want.
Oh,
So it's they got all walks of life. I need them to do one where it's just like you in the hood, at that point. Like let's just do the
yes,
90s.
let's do that.
That would be
90s.
weird, but they could pull it off maybe.
I want to see
Uh,
that one. I
that
would
would
love to
be now. That's where they might be really pushing somebody's buttons, but
Assassin's, Assassin's Creed San Andreas. Like, please.
yeah, I wonder how much of the envelope they can push in current time frame. But
Assassin's Creed
yeah,
Compton.
yeah. All right. Let's while we're still in the footage that you have, let's address Transformers Deactivated. So
Yeah, Yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
go
So
ahead.
there was a trailer, I want to say like 2 years ago, that I
Yeah.
completely forgot about, where they showed some people working on a robot, and then all of a sudden it was like first person point of view from the
Hmm.
robot perspective, and it like turns on, and then it was like activated, and then it just said Transformers. And we were like, oh, a Transformers game, okay. Like we didn't know what it was. Well, that was the game Transformers Reactivate, and it was supposed to be like an online, up to 4 player shooter thing. And as of like earlier this week, they have decided to cancel it. Uh, and everybody's like, well, what have y'all been working on all these years? If y'all are just now like, oh yeah, we can't do it. So they can't handle it, I guess. Uh, they said they'll be scaling down to refocus on other projects.
I'm gonna be honest. When I saw some footage that I don't know if it was official footage or just like just footage of some game, it looked like a hero shooter. It looked
Yeah.
like it was a hero shooter where every now and then you could just turn right into a car, drive forward a few feet or something, and then turn right back into the robot and then just shoot at other
So
people.
it would
That's what it
probably make
looked
a
like.
good hero shooter premise, right? Drive away,
Mm-hmm.
turn into robot, shoot. Because you could also mix in like car crashing stuff as well if you
Mm-hmm.
wanted. So it'd be like Twisted Metal with a hero shooter. However, it ain't about to beat Marvel's rivals right now. So
Yeah, Marvel Rivals is definitely hot. Shout out to them. I know somebody right now who tells me he can't wait to get home to play it almost every day. He keeps talking about his ranks, and he plays from like 11 a.m. to not 11 a.m. 11 p.m. to almost 5 in the morning. Apparently, so I'm like,
oh
bro, get
wow,
some
okay.
sleep. But yeah, there's a few people I know who are very very heavily in this game, and they criticize me for playing certain single player games. Like, why are you playing single player games? You need to get on this. You need to get on this. I'm like, okay, I'll get to it eventually. But like, like literally have my list of stuff that I'm going to play that I'm going to probably save for last. But that game is definitely one of the hottest things that's out right now. It's like really crazy how much they're expanding, how much they have like all of these different things like the Fantastic Four that they're releasing right now. And it's funny because I wouldn't have known too much information if it wasn't for it's like people telling me and like looking at the footage all day at work and stuff. But yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to Marvel coming back because it was looking at one point that the single player games and stuff was like tanking for a minute in the gaming sphere because they had the Marvel Avengers game. They tried to do something like have the multiplayer thing on there with like microtransactions and stuff, and it just didn't catch on. But this worked. It worked. They got what they wanted. But I guess we can move forward. Do you want to tell me real quick what did you wanted to talk about as far as the Until Dawn movie?
Oh yeah, I saw reports that they're working on an Until Dawn movie, and then I just
Right.
saw a thing that said that for the Until Dawn movie, it's gonna have like characters and like a storyline that's like not in the game.
Not in the game,
Uh
so they're just gonna take
yeah,
liberties.
yeah, and it's like if you're gonna take liberties, don't call it Until Dawn. Like it's one thing if you use the characters but try and come up with another ending that's not in the game, even though I think the game covers every possible ending. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
here's something like another ending for the people who tried to play through all of the endings. Here's another one.
Mm.
That's one thing. But if you're gonna have like start making your own characters and then start doing your lone liberties with some of the storyline, then you're not making an Until Dawn game. Just call it something else. And I feel like at this point, they need to bring back the words inspired by. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. Just say it's inspired by this. So it's like, okay, it's similar, but it's not that. Versus having to say, we're going to call it that, and the overarching enemy will be the same, but every other little thing about it will be unrecognizable. Well, then don't call it that. Like, do something else, because all you're going to do is disappoint people.
Yeah, I think there's a few different franchises that's getting movies. I think somebody said Horizon Zero Dawn was gonna get a movie real quick.
Yes, Sony
But
is focused on movies right
yeah,
now and shows.
um,
Ghost of Tsushima is getting an anime,
right.
and Helldivers is getting, I think, a mini series or something.
But I remember like changing the way a certain franchise is like the story and stuff is what hurt other movies and TV shows that have come out in the past. One that comes to mind for me is actually the Halo series because by
Yep.
default, I think people were not with the fact that the main Master Chief took his helmet off and reveals his face, and he hadn't done that ever. And they did it immediately, and people were saying, well, the actor wants to be shown because the actor is trying to be noticed or whatever. And they were doing so many different things because I guess he had like like Master Chief wasn't just taking his gun and shooting the aliens and stuff. He was just doing all this extra stuff. They were trying to humanize him too much, and it was really just the actors and the directors wanted to do what they wanted to do with the franchise instead of what the franchise was. Another thing I could think of, funny enough, for TV show and movies was actually Resident Evil, where they just kind of just took the liberties and did whatever they wanted, and it didn't really stick. At one point, they had Leon in one movie. More recently, where I think it was like 2021 or 2022, where he was basically like the abridged version of Goku from YouTube.
Yes.
And it was just like that wasn't his character, but that's what they portrayed him as. And it's just unfortunately, like, there are directors and stuff that want to work on, they have so many visions and so many ideas, but the companies with the money, they're always like, well, what will sell? So the only thing that's going to sell is franchise that already have a name. So by default, you're going to always just get a certain amount of audience that's just going to watch. And then they're like, well, if they're just watching for that reason, then we can still do what we want to do within the franchise. And then that's when we just have just a load of crap every other year or so. So, yeah, it is what it is. You just got to take it with a grain of salt. I mean, people are just going to do what they want to do. They're not going to respect the franchises, but, yeah, it is what it is. The footage still didn't turn to what I wanted it to turn yet. So we're going to jump into another one of these like mini topics. PlayStation. So not much PlayStation news, but I did wanted to mention they showed off a PlayStation Midnight Black collection. Have you seen this?
They did what?
They announced a PlayStation Midnight Black collection.
Oh yeah, I think I did see it. Mainly because I saw like they were like the controller, and then like, oh, there's more, right? Like covers and stuff, probably.
Yeah, I remember there was like a rumor before. Funny enough, the footage did change. There was a rumor at one point that the PlayStation 30th edition was supposed to also feature this, and I think I did touch on that at one point. I was like, they were supposed to have the all black controllers and stuff coming up because that's what people were saying, but it wasn't like explicitly like in detail all of this other stuff. It was really just the PlayStation Edge controller that was going to be all black that I was paying attention to. And so now we're seeing that we're also seeing the Portal PlayStation Portal device is going to be all black as well. It's like black with some blue. It looks really good. I'm still not interested in that, but for anybody who may have been on the fence, that one looks way cooler. I will admit it, just as far as the aesthetics. I am interested in the Edge controller, especially if I finally give in to like the Marvel Rivals with the back buttons and stuff. The Edge controller looks really good. I was always interested in that, and also the Xbox Elite controller. but I just didn't really pull the trigger on it because it's these are $200 devices, right? But yeah, they have both of those. They have then the headphones and the is it earpods? Is that what we call them?
Yeah.
Earplugs. They have those, and so that's like all black as well. The headphones look really good. I was already thinking about getting a second headset. I don't know if I would get that one though, but I think that one is like $150. Before, when they came out with those, I think they were called them Dual Sense Pulse. Is that what they used to call them?
Yep.
Yeah, it started out as $100. And then they came out with a new version, and now they start charging $150. And so yeah, that's the all black collection. Do you see yourself getting like one of those things, any of those things?
Nah, I ain't gonna spend the money on it.
I just think I'm probably gonna go for the Edge controller at some point. I don't know when, but I don't think I'm going to get it immediately. But they say pre-orders for it go out on this. Almost said December. Pre-orders go out on February 20th, 2025. I would like to just wait until this thing is just ready. These things are ready and just in the stores before I would try to grab one. I don't like how it's just like pre-order. So like, what's their actual release date? I don't think they gave us a release date. But yeah, the pre-orders for it are February 20th. Now you can still just get the regular all black controller. That was one of the controllers that I did get this past Christmas. Or I think it was Black Friday, but yeah, that's still just out there. And then you can also still get, you know, your black plates for the system if you want your system to be all black. Except for the Pro. I don't think, if anybody out here who got the Pro, I don't think there's any plates for you yet. But anybody who still has the regular system, you can still get the all black plates. But now I want to actually get to the quote unquote middle of the show. We're kind of past the middle, where I just talk about Epic Games and their free games that are current. But before I talk about Epic Games, I want to mention the actual footage on the screen. Do you recognize this game at all? You know what this game is? You cut out. I don't know. You still talking?
Oh, I said no.
Oh, you said no. Okay. Look at the quality of this. Do you think this look good? How do you feel about this quality of this compared to everything else?
No, it does look good.
It does look good, right?
But yeah, it looks good.
Yes. So for the people out there, I'm gonna put some people on game because with like our middle of the section, we always talk about Epic Games, right? And I talk about also some news things that go by a little bit quicker, and then some sales. Well, this footage is not from my 150-ish, or I think it was the 170 when I got it, graphics card. This, not graphics card, capture card, right? This footage is coming from a $20 capture card that I got from Walmart. Actually, before I got the expensive one. And this is the one that's connected to my PS3. This is a PS3 game. This is actually one of the launch titles that came with some of the PS3s out there. So I bought a backwards compatible PS3 from a mom and pop place near me. And this game came with it. And it's called MotorStorm. Let me see. What's the other title? Just MotorStorm. Just MotorStorm.
Remember MotorStorm?
Yeah. Now disregard me not actually like winning this game and driving really bad, because that wasn't the purpose of me like recording this. The purpose was just to see the footage. But real quick, the PS3, its footage is notorious for not being able to be used with modern day graphics cards, because I believe Sony had like some sort of block or copyright block where they were trying to block you from recording the footage on the PS3, and I think I talked to you about this off air at one point, or when we was playing the game, that basically they were trying to protect the Blu-ray side. That's my assumption, though. I don't know if this is 100%. But remember when this first came out, it was also a Blu-ray player, and the market was trying to sell Blu-ray players for like over $1,000, but the PS3 came out as like $600, but you could literally play high-res Blu-rays on there. And so they didn't want you to capture the footage, and so modern capture cards literally won't capture it. But I bought a $20 card, and I want to tell you guys what the name of it is, and it's Vivitar. So that's Vivrtar, and it's $20 at Walmart. You should be able to walk into any Walmart and find it in a little section in the electronics section. It's the only card that will work with the PS3. While everything else, I mean, you can still probably use that card with other systems, but this one works with the PS3, so it's now my dedicated PS3 card, and I will be bringing forward more older games from the PS3 and Xbox 360 going forward for the podcast, and probably like maybe some solo videos if I have some ideas. But I was very blown away about how good this footage looks, because it doesn't look like it's that much dated, you know what I mean? It looks like it's keeping up with everything else. Like, yeah, it's not photorealistic like some of the newer games, but just as far as just footage for capturing it, it looks just fine. And you're going to need one other device, and that's going to be an HDMI splitter. You can find that on Amazon for $15 basically. And a HDMI splitter, you're going to have one HDMI going into your TV where you're just playing the game. The other one's going to feed over into your computer where you're capturing the footage, right? And that's basically the setup that I have. You're looking at like $35 altogether, and then you can capture this for whatever channel you have or whatever you need the footage for, right? So I highly recommend people do that if you're looking to do that. If you're looking to capture stuff from the past, going forward, you will see some gameplay footage that's going to be coming from Infamous 2. I'm going to capture the entire thing. I'm going to capture the entire Sly Cooper, your games, basically. Your games. The Sly Cooper collection. Some of those other God of War games that I didn't play, which was the PSP versions of those games. Chain of Olympics, I believe, is one of the names. It was like one other one. I'm going to find the God of War Ascension game, capture that. Wolverine's Uncaged game, definitely going to capture that as well. So we're going to have some cool games from the past that's going to make a return for the podcast. And my other capture card still works well with like the Xbox 360. I'm gonna figure out how I'm going to do the Wii as well, because that is, you got to be like far away because of like the nunchucks and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that real quick within this segment, because it's kind of cool that technology allows you to do that, even though the bigger boys are just not allowing you to capture off of their thing. But $20 is not bad for doing something like this. I mean, it doesn't look like, you don't see any screen tearing or anything. You're just simply playing the game, right? So yeah, I just want to mention that. Other than that, this is technically the Epic Games section, and so the current game that is out right now that's available until January 16th is called Turmoil. I don't know too much about it, but that's the game that's free right now. Go and claim it. I've already claimed mine. And then there's a game called Escape Academy that's going to be available from January 16th to January 23rd. Don't know too much about that one either, but that is also free. I don't know too much about any big sales that's going on right now. Technically, all the sales would have been done from the holiday season. But is there anything that you've seen out there in the wild? Anything that went on sale on Steam or something you might want to mention? Or anything from Amazon, right?
Yeah, by January 15, I want to say there'll be another 16 games given away for free on Amazon.
That's pretty cool.
There's some already available now. I don't remember which ones, but they released like here's a few this week, here's a few this week, here's a few this week, but they're all like available by the end. So if you wait till like the 16th, you just snag them all.
So, speaking on the 16th, I don't know if I'm gonna play the demo. I might want to just wait for the full game, or I could get it. But there's a demo releasing for the game, the first Berserker Kazan. If you remember the game, we criticized one of their gameplays, and then afterwards on the Game Awards, they released another video that made it look like really good again, but it wasn't gameplay.
Yeah.
So that is coming out on January 16th, right around the corner. And from that demo, your save data will transfer over to the main game. You might want to wait.
That's cool. I don't always trust that, but that's cool.
Yeah, you might want to wait because it looks like the release date for it, from what I wrote down, is on March 27th. 2025, and it still could possibly get pushed back like other games did. So I don't know, like you could probably play this game maybe the week that it's coming out, and then once the game actually comes out, then you just transfer at that point. But I mean, if you play the game like now and then you gotta wait 2 months, it's like, you might as well just play the full game if you're gonna be in that category.
I can't remember which game it was, but it did that where your like save data transferred over. But then there was an issue with the game, so they had to release a patch, and the patch made you start from the beginning.
Yeah, so yeah, you might be in that type of situation. So I would, if it was me, I would just wait till the release week if I want to buy it right away, and then play the demo, and then like after the demo, it's like, okay, I'm gonna go pick the game up now, right? So, but that's just me.
Bro, you crashed heavy.
I crashed heavy. Oh, you talk about that? I thought you meant like the audio. I was like, no, not the audio.
Not the audio. It was towards the end of the race, just right into a car.
Okay, yeah. I had very, very bad. Like I was playing terribly. This was absolute terrible footage, but it's very good footage. For like I won the war when it comes to making sure I have PS3 footage coming forward, because I was holding off on some of your games until I figured it out. I was like, I got to be able to figure this out. And what was cool about that too is I had everything, I just did not try the other graphics or capture card. I was still, like if I took that same setup and just simply put the Elgato on there instead of the cheap one, we wouldn't get the footage. It would just literally not be there. It would be black. It was like, why? Why is it black? You wouldn't even get the audio either. And then you switch it out for the cheap one, the $20 one, and all of a sudden, boom, here it is. And I'm playing games, and I'm just like, just capturing all the footage, and I'm playing some PS3 stuff too that I'll get to in a second. But yeah, I think that's it. We didn't have no more sales, right? You didn't have nothing else to mention. Nope. All right, we're running kind of long, so I'm gonna try to get over this a little bit quicker. I think this can be mentioned here. So the Lenovo Legion 2 is going to be coming this summer, summer 2025, and so that kind of looks like what I would have wanted the Switch 2 to be. But it's not. It's just a PC handheld. So if you are somebody who still have not gotten your own PC handheld, they're going to release that. I don't know how much better it's going to be, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be better than the first one. And it still has Switch-like gimmicks. And if that's something you're into and you just want to play that on the PC, well, here you go. You can wait till this summertime for it. I don't know too many details, but I'm pretty sure you're going to expect to spend some real money on this because it's the PC handheld. And it sounds like there's going to be more PC handhelds all summer. We're going to talk about the Xbox one in a second, but how do you feel about this? How do you feel about just the flooding of handhelds?
I feel like everyone's jumping on the bandwagon. And and they're all releasing at the same price, all kind of do the same thing. So there isn't really a reason for all of them
Hmm.
to exist. But it's nice to know if you go to the store, you'll be able to at least grab one.
Yeah, because on top of the expensive handhelds, there's still the emulation scene doing theirs as well for those people who are
Yeah.
into that. And in that scene, those handhelds are so cheap that people are just collecting them left and right, getting all the colors, getting all the shapes and sizes.
Which I also think that's weird. Well, I don't mind the
Mhm.
I get the collectors. I think it's weird that they keep releasing a bunch. 'Cause that one for sure, because they definitely do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and so the Mayu Mini, which was one of my favorite handhelds, they're releasing the Mayu Mini Flip. Right now, they've given the prototype version to a bunch of like content creators and stuff to play around with, and it looks just like a SD, Game Boy Advance SD, similar to the Amberdick one that had came out, but that one has like two little Joy Cons on it, or two little joysticks that's like right at the edge of the bottom half of it. So when it officially releases, I'll cover it, and I'll cover some other stuff. You know what we gotta get? I just thought of like just right now. When we gonna get this colored version of the Playdate, man? We need a colored Playdate. When we gonna get that?
You mean instead of yellow?
I mean like the inside of it, because the whole all
Oh,
the games was
you
black
mean
and white.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's part of their thing. Like I feel like that's on purpose. I don't know why, but
Because if they do a color version and follow the formula of the Game Boy where it's backwards compatible, now you got something. Now people might come, hop onto it a little bit more.
is
But
that when you'll get it?
maybe, but I don't know because it's still going to be like a $200 thing, and it's not going to just come with a full list of games where
No, you
some
gotta
of
buy
these
the game.
other, yeah, all these devices is like, oh, we can just go get the full library, and it's like, not with that. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I do remember. I think I had wrote down like one game at one point where I was just like, if I get it, I definitely want to play this.
Oh, okay.
But it's just one game, and that's still a $200 device, So,
Yeah.
but I'm still keeping up with them. I'm still being fair. I'm not gonna act like they don't exist. I'm being fair. But I would like to see what they do next with that system in 2025, because at the same time it would be kind of bad though if they come out with a colored version and kind of like disregard everybody who bought into the first one, because it's already expensive enough. But we'll see. All right. Xbox. So have you heard of all of these Xbox newses? We got news where they're saying there's going to be a direct coming. We don't have a date on this, and it's supposed to be this month, according to everybody, and it's supposed to like talk about some of their more recent games that's supposed to be coming out, like Avowed. And then we got the other news where the other side, where people are starting to say that more of their games are going on to other systems. And
I've heard about that, but again, I need to hear them announce that.
yeah, because the rumor that was coming from that same source from before, that shall not be mentioned, they're saying the Master Chief Collection and Flight Simulator is supposed to be going to the new Switch when that comes out, and PlayStation 5. And I was
Oh,
just like, okay, I don't believe this, because why would the Flight Simulator, like for the Switch not being that much more powerful, it's like, how would you get Flight Simulator to go on here? And then on top of it, like for the Halo Master Chief Collection, it's all centered around multiplayer, and Nintendo's online multiplayer is not built for that type of game, because it's like you don't have no party chat at all. Like, so I was like, I don't really believe that at all. But that's the rumors right now.
oh,
Outside of that, they are also saying that Xbox is supposed to be releasing their next gen console as early as 2026, and it has the code name right now Xbox Prime, almost like Optimus Prime. Have you heard of this one? Have you heard of that
nope.
rumor?
But we don't
Xbox
need to release
Prime.
another console when the games still can't do stuff. Like, I don't understand why release more tech when the games can't do what was even promised to begin with.
So what you mean by that? Let's elaborate.
They can't run 4K and 60 frames per second, and I don't think that's on the consoles doing that. Like, the games ain't even announced for that. The games can't even come out working. Like, one of the praises for Astrobot and winning Game of the Year, one of the praises for it is that it came out working, no patches needed.
I actually, you know what? I know this might be like a hot take. I think the base PS5, I almost said 4, base PS5 and Series X is both more than capable of running all games at 4K and 60 frames at the same time, but the developers can't figure it out.
Yeah, the developers can't do this stuff. Again, I don't think it's on the console, it's on the game. It can't run both. Like, they can't. Their game does not work enough. Like, if it can't even just work on the first day, it definitely can't do both of those. Like, they can't even release on time. So it's not the consoles, and then they're like, we're gonna make even stronger consoles, and it's like, for what? It's not gonna be able to play anything better. It's going to all still be it's gonna be the same quality. We're still gonna have to wait for patches. We're still gonna have stuttering. We're still gonna have a bunch of issues, and it's still not gonna be able to do both 4K and 60 frames. Like, how many times have the games that can do all the high level stuff on PC? It's that way because of the modding community. It's not because of the actual developers, because they can't do it. So there's no reason for new hardware. All you're doing is stressing the developers out, because now they have to make something for the new hardware that justifies buying new hardware. Because that's what happens. People get mad and they're like, well, why did I buy this thing if nothing can play for it? And it's all the developer's fault. And they're already under enough pressure with every business person with the little grubby hands and everything. And the moment something makes $100,000 less than projected, the whole studio is shut down, regardless of how good it does. So they're under enough stress as it is. Upgrading equipment is just going to add more stress. For what? No one's going to buy the new consoles. Look how the PS5 Pro did. Like, calm down.
Yeah, so I guess that's their rumor right now. It's supposed to be...
Weren't they releasing a handheld?
Yeah, so I'm kind of confused on that, because I don't know if it's the same thing or if it's like two different SKUs, and it's like we have a whole home console and a handheld at the same time. But I know the handheld was been rumored for a long time. And then now they're saying,
So why should anyone buy your console if you just released an ad saying we already got one? You said everybody already has an Xbox. Why would you sell another Xbox? I already got an Xbox. According to you, I got one already.
Plus, with the rumor of Flight Simulator being on the Switch kind of sounds so hilarious to me. But if you take those type of games, Flight Simulator and then Halo, these are very signature Microsoft titles. When you do something like that, it kind of it would make people just feel like, well, they don't want, like, they already act like they don't want an Xbox as it is. But Halo is like the one type of franchise where it's like, if you really put that on another system, that kind of takes the hardware, like it kills the hardware almost. It just does. I remember there was a rumor like a month or two ago where they were saying it was going to be Forza Horizon 5 going to PS5, and that kind of died down. And so they do this now every so often. It was really annoying to me last year around this time. But last year, I remember they went crazy with it. They was just like, it's Starfield and it's Halo and it's all these other ones. And then they came out and was like, oh, here's Pentiment. And then we'll shut down. Here's Hi-Fi Rush, and then we'll shut the studio down immediately. And so I was just like, what is going on? I don't know if in the direct they might announce something like here's a couple more games that might go on another system, but the most that I know is that we do know the next Doom is supposed to be multiplat, or at least include PlayStation. And then I think, what was the other game? It was one other game that they had was also supposed to be on there, but there was no actual official mention of like Hellblade 2 or anything else that they were saying. Hellblade, Halo, and then Flight Simulator. So it's the same rumor from the same guy, and we don't need to give him any other clout.
So I keep imagining like Flight Simulator on the Switch, where it's just more fog because it has to like load in. Like,
it's
that's all I keep
like
imagining.
it doesn't even seem like for the Switch especially, like some of these games it doesn't even make sense for them to even run on there. Like it doesn't seem like it would run. You know what I mean? Plus right now if the Switch 2's hardware is so like secret or whatever, well maybe it's not, maybe all the leaks are real. It's like, how would you even know you can optimize for that system, like for that type of game? Because the flight simulator specifically, I remember people who had the graphics card, the 3090, they were having a hard time running that game when it first launched.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the game. It was like cards could not handle that game. It wasn't so much the game though. Like the high-end graphics cards afterwards were running it better. But I remember in the beginning they just couldn't run. Because that game was just the game that just, segregates the PC platform. So to put something like on that on the Switch is like, I don't believe that at all. But yeah, next gen console on the 2026, that's one of the other things they were saying. I'll react to it when I see it. I am still interested in seeing how their handheld would work overall. One of the biggest things about what is being said about Xbox's next gen console that I'm excited about a little bit is that they said it was supposed to have a partition where part of it is an Xbox and part of it is a PC in itself, which is something they should have done a while ago, because that's almost like an automatic checkmate, because everybody who put their games on Steam will run on it, right?
Yeah.
So if they do that with the handheld or the next gen console, it would be interesting to see. It would pretty much blow the lid off of everything, because for everybody who decided to put out a game where they skipped Xbox over the years but put it on PC, well, it brings it full circle, because it's like, well, now it has to work on there, right? So that's something I'm interested in seeing as far as Xbox. Other than that, the rumors are just rumors. I've said in the past is like I shouldn't even really give it any clout at all, but that's the talk of right now outside of the Switch leaks. But leaks and rumors are kind of just like leaks and rumors, right? It's like we still want to see the official stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, I don't trust rumors. At this point now, people just go, rumor has it, and then they just say something.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember like with this leak especially, or this rumor especially, when I clicked on one of the sources, it literally was like, this is coming from a very reliable source. Like this was a journalist's thing. That's what the journalist said. A very reliable source. And I'm just like, so like, yeah, I'm like, I don't know how much these people get paid or whatever, but like,
I'm waiting for somebody like Jack to report something, and somebody says, Jack, who's the resource? And Jack's like, or who's the rumor? And Jack's like, I started the rumor. Like, that's why I'm reporting.
Yeah, it's like, source, trust me, bro. That's the source. But anyways,
Yep.
we can move on to the fun part, the very last segment. But right before it, I just want to mention, because I wrote this down and I found it hidden amongst everything else that I wrote down. Quick shout out to Squid Games on Netflix. Technically a WWE on Netflix too. Shout out to them too, but Squid Games in particular, because they released their second season basically, and I haven't seen it yet, but at the same time, the Roblox community has like a Squid Games game within it, which is like the full
Yeah.
season, and that thing has taken over Twitch like crazy. If you're not playing Marvel Rivals, you're gonna have a bunch of people probably on your feed that you're following that's playing this game, and it's free. It's like made up, but it's got a huge fan base on it, where you're basically just playing the same, you're playing the show within the game, and they have all the different games in there and stuff. And I don't know if you've seen the Mr. Beast series or whatever when he did it.
Yeah.
I didn't see that, but I just know this is kind of like the same thing. It was just everybody gets in there and they go up the ranks to the very end. I guess your game Fall Guys is kind of like that. That's like more tame, but
Yeah. And I
you
still play it.
eliminate.
Dude,
Yeah.
I think I'm 3 hours away from hitting, for just the PS5 version, the 400-hour mark in
Wow.
Fall Guys. Yeah. It's easy to just like, all right, I'm getting warmed up, or I'm waiting for somebody to log on. So let me go do a round real quick, and that just adds up.
Yeah. Yeah, so at some point I'm going to binge watch all of season 2 of Squid Games. I do have access to Netflix, and I'm gonna watch all of it at some point. And I don't know if I need to report back here for it, but for anybody out there, Roblox is free, and you can join any of those servers and play so many different types of games within Roblox in itself. But if you're a huge fan of Squid Game and you were not aware, they have a Squid Game right now game that's very, very, very popular. And you might want to go get into it. So I just want to mention that at the very end, right before we get into our topic. So, basically, 2025 is upon us. New year, new games. But, I thought it would be interesting to say that we got the full year. I've already started on these, but we got the full year ahead of us. We got a bunch of games that we're going to be playing. Why not write them down and, create probably somewhat of a schedule and go through and play these games, current games as well as old games. And I decided to kind of take the Pokemon approach to it, in my opinion. In my thought process of the Pokemon approach, what I mean by that is I was going to go under Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo, 3 different companies. And I thought of the idea of them having the starter Pokemon, basically one per system, where I start from the very beginning of a very popular franchise. And I play the games all the way up to the end right now in this year. And so some of them are longer franchises, some of them are shorter. And I think I told you about this, right? Just what games are you going to be playing? I don't know if you got that detailed in there
Well, I
with
have
it.
2 separate lists, because I didn't know which one we wanted to do. So I had one where just here's the games I plan on playing this year, but then I have a shorter list of specifically here's the franchise.
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a little bit of both. So go ahead and tell me like 1 or 2 of them that you're going to be doing.
The franchises that I'm going to do, one of them is finishing up, and one of them starting. So finishing up, I still got to play Uncharted 4. I usually play them around Christmas time. I had a bunch of stuff going on around this time, so I couldn't do it. So I'm going to be in a couple, like probably starting real soon, and then just do January, finish Uncharted 4.
Okay.
And like the Lost Legacy, I got to do both of those. Then the franchise that I plan on playing through is the Darksiders franchise.
Okay.
Especially with the announcement of the new one coming out, and they're on my PlayStation Plus, like the older ones. So Darksiders 1, 2, and 3, and I think there's one more that I gotta track down. But 1, 2, and 3 at least I plan on playing through. I know some people complained about 3 because it became more, I guess, Dark Souls-y, and it was a new protagonist, and people complained. But I'll at least give it a shot. But for sure, 1 and 2, that's the ones I plan on playing. I
I
don't know
still
if I'm
gotta
gonna.
buy it. I gotta buy
Okay.
the third one. I got the first two. For anybody out there who's wondering, you could probably find the third one used anywhere, but you could still buy the steelbook for the third one brand new off of Amazon. I actually had it on my Amazon list for a long time. I just never actually pulled the trigger because I didn't have the game. But I think I'm going to get that game used, probably from GameStop or something. And I know they're not going to give me the case for it, and then I'll just get the actual steelbook for the game. But yeah, go ahead, carry on.
Oh, and then two franchises. I don't know if I'm gonna end up starting it this year because I
Hmm.
have a list of a bunch of other games that I want to get through. But two that I'm interested in buying and starting maybe next year. That we'll
Hmm.
see. The Mafia franchise and the Yakuza franchise, or Like a Dragon, I should say,
Okay.
franchise. Both of those seem very like, and especially Mafia, the Old Country, to me looks really good. And I've always been into those type of games. And then they seem very story driven, which I like. And then I mean the
Hmm.
Yakuza franchise, story driven, bunch of side quests, goofy, funny storyline, and there's so many of them. And then I think I like the fact that like around the newer ones, they started playing with the formula where instead of like action adventures turn based and we're gonna do try this and try this, it made me want to jump into it more,
Okay.
knowing that it's definitely not going to be just the same thing over and over.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess I
Uncharted
can
4 and Darksiders are the two main for franchises.
for the franchises.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as franchises go, so some of these I had already started in the past, and then some of them I'm like just starting brand new. So technically, when it comes to PlayStation, I'm actually using the Sly Cooper franchise, which I know is really a shorter
Huh?
franchise. That one's like just 3 games,
Yeah.
but I have the PS3 collection version right now that I'm trying to get through. And so I'm on the first one, and I've actually, so we'll see footage of games going forward on here when I finish the games, because I don't want to just like stop at some point and then like the footage just stops or whatever. But I've been playing Sly Cooper a lot right now, actually. I have a lot of footage for Sly Cooper, so the first one. And I'm going to go through the full series there on PS3, capture card and everything, right? And then I've actually been playing Metroid Prime Remastered on the Switch. But the Metroid series is the other series that I'm going through. So that one's kind of cheating a little bit. I've already played a few of those in the past as a kid, obviously. And then some of them I'm kind of replaying. But I wanted to go through that full series leading up to the last game in this series chronologically, which is Metroid Dread. Dread I have not played at all, but I do own it. So that's on the Switch. And then the Xbox, you know what's really funny about Xbox? Like, in the past, I want to say when I was a little bit more active with like solo content where I was on camera, which will return soon. I was more pro Xbox then, but I do know like certain things just kept happening every now and then where I'm just like, why is this happening? Right. So the other series was Halo, and I've already started Halo, but the game that I was trying to play, funny enough, was within the Master Chief Collection, and I decided to put a pause on that and wait until I see an update, because they are always updating the Master Chief Collection for some reason. Like, it needs big updates. And let me tell you what happened recently. So over the Christmas break time, when we were not recording, that game needed an 85 gig update.
Jeez.
And I was just looking at it like, why? Right? And when I hit to update it, it was not going through it quickly. It was like going really slow and stopping and just freezing. It was at like 13 gigs at one point, and I wasn't even able to like get it to go further until I just touched the controller. and then it finally finished at one point, right? And I was just like, damn, I can't even play it. Like, it was Christmas Day. Like, everything that's on my list, I actually was playing on Christmas, except for Xbox, because that particular game couldn't do it. But what happened with it was it finally did its update, right? And so I click into the Master Chief Collection and clicked the second game, clicked campaign, and immediately it crashed to the dashboard. And it was like it completely went right out the game, and I was just on the Xbox dashboard.
Dang.
And I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna not do this one. So it's still on my list. Technically, I got the full year to catch up to Infinite, right? But I'm not gonna touch it until I see another update where that fixed, because it was like if it crashed, because I was still coming off of Bloodborne closer back into the summertime frame on PS5, where I was having those crashes that I mentioned in the past, and I was like, I don't want to touch anything that's crashing to the dashboard. If there's crashes at all, that game goes to the back of the line of my backlog, basically. It don't matter who it is, right? I'm not gonna like play favorites at all, because like I don't want to break any system, you know. And I know that might put blame on developers or something, but you can't have games out here crashing to the dashboard. So that's what happened. But my other legacy game is going to be Halo, where this was Halo 2, so I've kind of already been playing. But Halo 2 all the way to Halo Infinite, that one's a little bit longer than the other ones. The Metroid series is actually kind of long too. But the Sly Cooper is only 3 games. So those are my legacy games on the main system. And then I got one extra that technically I have been doing this whole time, even though I haven't really made it a 2025 thing. And so if you remember, it was Pokemon. As much as I crap on Pokemon currently every now and then, I'm still technically going through the franchise. I was on Pokemon Emerald. I'm still on Emerald. So if anybody remembers, the longest the longest time ever, I count when I played the first season game as when I was a kid. I count that as part of this series, because I jumped into season 2 on my phone, and that was like a whole thing in itself that I talked about like probably over a year ago at this point. And then Emerald is the game that I've been playing on my Mayu Mini.
Yeah. Sorry, that's my favorite one. That was my first
So
one. Who's your pick as a starter?
The fire one that's like he kicks
Torture.
people. Yeah, so I got his second form right now, where he's like he's like he kicks people basically.
Yeah. No, Torchic was my first, because I was like, if this is real life, I would probably get stuck with the little chicken. I didn't know what it was going to become. I was just like, if this was real life, they would be like, here, you get the tiny chicken. And it's like, dang, okay. And that's what I would just get stuck with. Then it becomes Blaziken, and it's like one of the best Pokemon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But that's my I had in parentheses pick up and play game, because it's not really it's because it's the handheld, that's literally just pick it up and play it. I can just pick it up anywhere if I'm laying down, whatever. So I'm playing on the Mayu Mini now. The RG40XX, I don't have a game currently on that particular handheld, so I kind of just like put it back in its case, and it's just on standby mode right now, not really playing anything on it. But this game I started before I bought that, and so that's my other one. But I actually plan on going through the Pokemon series, where I play at least one game from each generation to bring us back up to current. I think the next game in the series is actually going to put me on the Switch, where it's the remastered version of Black and White. I forgot which one I bought, but I have it already. And so I'm gonna do that, and then Black and White 2, whichever one. I'll probably do the opposite. So I think I bought White, and so I'll do Black 2 afterwards, basically.
That's what I did. I think yours technically. Oh no, you want to stick with the same.
You want to stick with the same?
Oh yeah, from what I remember, if you play White, you get Zekrom, the big giant black dragon. If
Mm-hmm.
you play black, you get Reshiram, the big giant white dragon, and I
Mm-hmm.
think you get the other one when you play Volume 2. But if you switch colors, you're gonna get the same guy, and it
Well, the
follows almost the
problem
same story.
is the problem though is that the first one is the Switch remaster version. The second one's probably going to be through emulation. To be honest with
Still,
you.
um, but I think it's like something about the story is supposed to continue.
Okay.
If I remember, I have to re-look into it, but I think one of them takes place like 5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. It won't be the end of the world if you switch. You get the other types of
Mm-hmm.
Pokemon, but I think it was like you. Here's the things you missed in the second one. But if I remember, I'll re-look it up and let you know. But if I remember, you're supposed to stick with the same volume or
Okay.
same color.
Well, just remind me because I think a part of this, what I want to do, for the podcast going forward, is we revisit our progress once a month, just to say where are you, what's your impressions on it, that kind of thing for at least one of the franchises. That was the thing I wanted to do. So I'll go on our progress probably at the end of February because we're right in the middle of January. But yeah, those are the legacy titles technically, and
Real
so
quick,
mhm,
I did forget a franchise I was gonna play.
sure.
Prototype. I also was gonna play Prototype 1 and 2.
Is that on PC? The PC version?
No, I have it on PlayStation. I also have it in the PlayStation. I think I bought those. It
Okay.
was like the PS4 versions, but like they cost like $2 at the time. They were on like a super sale. But
Mm-hmm.
that was it's another one of those like superhero-ish, like superpower franchises. So I'm excited to play those.
Okay. My brain is not working right now. Is Prototype? That's not the same as that robot game where you kind of like go through two. That's Portal. That my bad.
That's
Okay.
Portal. Yeah.
Because I was about to say like Portal. There. Well, for
That's
anybody
Portal.
out there, Portal did do like a update for anybody who has like high end graphics card on PC. They did a ray tracing update that makes it look really good. They did updated the textures and everything for anybody who might want to run through those two games. But yeah, I know what Prototype is. I think I bought one of them on Steam. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, as far as modern games is concerned, what are you playing basically so far?
So, I'm still playing through Dragon Age Veilguard.
All right.
But I also plan. Funny enough, I still haven't beaten it. Funny
Mm-hmm.
enough, so I plan on going back to play to beat Stray.
Okay.
But I still haven't done that, even though I praised it all time. Haven't. Uh, Persona 5 Tactica. I want to beat that
Mm-hmm.
this year, and then probably play Persona 4 Golden next year. Um, I also want to go back, even though Sparking Zero is out. I
Yeah.
have Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Mm-hmm.
I had this version. I didn't fully play it because I just finished playing through Xenoverse 2. And, like,
Mm-hmm.
I just finished watching through Dragon Ball Z Abridged again. But it was like, I just got through the Dragon Ball Z story. I didn't feel like replaying Kakarot because it was just the Dragon Ball Z story
Right.
again. But now that it's been some time, I want to go back and play that. Plus, I heard the history of Trunks part is really detailed, and that's my favorite Dragon Ball Z movie. So
Are you
that's
gonna play with all the DLCs? Because I think each
yeah,
game
at
has all
least
the DLCs.
for Kakarot, at least the history of Trunks DLC. Probably the other ones too, but at least that one.
I had put a pause on that franchise because I didn't finish Super. I'm like still one of the people who hasn't
Oh, you're talking
finished
about
it.
Xenoverse. Xenoverse only. I think I'm missing the last 3 DLCs. The
But
rest
I
I
think
played.
they put Beerus in Kakarot though, right? If I'm not mistaken. As a
Yeah,
DLC, I think he's in
maybe,
there, even though he
maybe.
technically doesn't fit in that game. They put it in there. Um,
But yeah, I plan on playing through that. That's PlayStation, along with the other stuff I had mentioned. For PC, I plan
mhm,
on going through. I have to beat the game Cassette Beast. That was one of those monster catcher offshoot Pokemon like games.
mhm.
Um, that I want to play through the Callisto Protocol and Wolfenstein: The New Order. So they're older, but like that's the only one I plan on playing through. From Switch, I I want to. Oh, look at that! It was another franchise I forgot to write down. The Phoenix
Mm-hmm.
Wright trilogy, that lawyer
Okay.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to play through that, and I want to finish Pokemon Scarlet and play Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, because I
Okay.
started that one.
Okay.
And then my retro stuff for like the older stuff. Um, I want to replay. There was this motocross game where you do a bunch of wild tricks called Freakstyle. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. I want to play that. NBA Streets Volume 2 and Star Fox Adventures.
Okay. So you got a nice, decent list. That's good. As
Yeah.
far as my modern day stuff is really just finishing up what I've already been playing so far, which was Black Myth Wukong on the PC. On the Steam Deck, I have Persona 4 Golden, which I actually put in parentheses here. Also, a ongoing game. My other ongoing game was Tears of the Kingdom, where what I mean by ongoing, I don't feel like I need to just beat it right away. I just kind of want to play it and absorb as much of the material, but I'm not in a hurry to finish. So Tears of the Kingdom and Persona 4 Golden are those two type of games in that type of category for me. I didn't write this down, but also on the Steam Deck, within the retro emulation that I have, I will probably still finish Power Rangers Super Legends at one point. It actually says I'm like 20 something percent done with it from what I was playing before for footage. So that's technically something I would play. That's more of like a warm up to like one of these main games right here.
Okay.
So it's not really like a must play. And then I have my PS Plus and Game Pass stuff. So PS Plus, it's A Plague's Tale, Innocence, and then I will follow that with Requiem when I finish like right away. And those are PS Plus games. And then for Game Pass, I had on here to be announced, but actually I know the games that I'm going to play. So I was actually going to start a Game Pass game the second I pay for the internet. And so it was going to be actually the new Indiana Jones game and then Black Ops 6.
Okay.
And I plan to play just those two, and then I'm gonna let that code run out, and then I'm gonna wait for a little while, and I'm gonna use my code that came with the Rogue Ally because it was due in May 2025, but I think I'm gonna do it in April, and that's a 3-month code, and I don't know what I'm gonna play then, but I'm not gonna use all my codes right away. I'm just gonna dip in and out of Game Pass basically, because I gotta just like I'm gonna just preserve it. I don't want to just be 100% on there. But yeah, I plan to start that right away. I'm gonna jump into those two games, Black Ops 6 and Indiana Jones, like in probably a week when my internet is set to renew. And so I think that's all of the games that I have here, which is a nice healthy list. That actually I don't think that's gonna last me the full year. Maybe some of the franchises will, but some of these other ones I think I will be done with a lot of my main stuff like right at the end of this winter, because I'm kind of just playing it. I don't feel the need to go out as much right now because of the snow and everything. That's just the stay at home hot cocoa and just play, right? And
Yeah.
so that's it. Any more games? Anything else?
Well, real quick, I looked it up, and yeah, it's intended if you play Black 1 to play Black 2, because
Mm-hmm.
you get the other legendary. If you switch colors, you get the same legendary.
Okay. Okay. Now as far as the very last thing I can say, I don't have an anticipated game for this year yet, like a top 5 or anything like that, but if you do you want to mention it?
Uh, I don't have a top 5, but I
Mm-hmm.
do have at least one game that I am sort of looking forward to,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that's Split Fiction. So that's the made by the It Takes Two, A Way Out guy, and
Oh
it's the
yeah.
one where the two writers One of them writes fantasy and the other one writes sci-fi,
Mm-hmm.
and they get stuck in a machine that keeps switching them between the two worlds. So it's another co-op one. That's one that
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to. Other than that, not really, because I also have to relook to see what's guaranteed to release this year. Because I heard rumors that like that Marvel game with Captain America and Black Panther is supposed to
Mm-hmm.
come out this year. Um, like it's hard to tell. Like, is Wolverine coming out anytime soon? Like, what's coming out this year? I don't know.
Yeah,
uh,
maybe
Everything that
Wolverine.
was announced, like I feel like Split Fiction got a release date. But even like the Assassin's Creed is getting pushed back, and that wasn't even on my list
Yeah,
to like get. So I'll have to see. Uh, Maybe that'll be something I'll look into, like what's exactly been announced this
yeah.
year, and report back next week.
Well, welcome back. We went a full 2 hours. We actually used the full footage. I didn't think we was going to do that. Next week, I'm going to speak on the releases for January. I didn't want to do that on here because I was anticipating that we might run long, and we did. So next week, I'm going to just talk about what's all releasing this month, and whatever else gaming news. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna go play a couple games or so. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I will catch you on the next video. Peace.